There was a time in life when everything felt uncertain. The days were filled with pressure, and the nights felt even heavier with overthinking and silent worries. No matter how hard you tried, things just didn't seem to work out. You smiled in front of others, but deep inside, your heart was tired and searching for peace. It felt like you were walking through a storm that had no end. The winds of fear, doubt, and disappointment surrounded you from every side. You questioned your path, your purpose, and even your own strength. There were moments when you felt completely alone, as if no one truly understood what you were going through. But somewhere deep within your soul, there was a small voice whispering hope. A quiet reminder that you were not alone, even in the middle of your darkest storm. That voice was leading you toward Jesus Christ. At first, you didn't fully understand it. Your faith felt small, almost fragile. But even the smallest faith can begin a powerful transformation. As the storm continued, something inside you slowly began to change. Not your situation, not your struggles, but you. You started to realize that you don't have to carry everything on your own. You began to surrender your worries, your fears, and your pain. Trusting Jesus Christ didn't mean your problems disappeared overnight. The storm was still there, the challenges still existed, but your heart started to feel different. Instead of fear controlling you, peace began to grow within you. You started praying more, even if your words were simple. You began to believe that there is a purpose behind your pain, even if you couldn't see it yet. Slowly, your faith became stronger. What once felt like darkness began to feel like a path being shaped for something greater. You realized that storms are not meant to destroy you, they are meant to build you. They teach your patience, strengthen your heart, and bring you closer to God. And through it all, Jesus Christ was guiding you, step by step, even when you couldn't see the way. One day, you looked back and realized something powerful. You were no longer the same person who once felt lost and broken. The storm didn't defeat you. Instead, it transformed you. Your faith had grown stronger than your fears. Your heart had found peace even in difficult moments. You understood now that trusting Jesus Christ was never about escaping the storm, but about walking through it with courage and hope. The storm that once scared you became the very thing that shaped your strength. It taught you to trust, to believe, and to keep moving forward no matter what. And now, no matter what challenges come your way, you carry a deep confidence within you. Because you know this truth. Even in the darkest storms, you are never alone. Jesus Christ is always with you, guiding you, protecting you, and leading you toward a brighter future. As life moved forward, you began to understand that faith is not just something you hold on to during difficult times, it is something you live every single day. The storm may have passed, but new challenges still came, just as they always do in life. The difference now was not the absence of problems, but the presence of a stronger, deeper faith within you. You no longer reacted to struggles with the same fear and uncertainty. Instead, you faced them with a quiet confidence. You had learned that even when things don't make sense, there is still a greater plan unfolding behind the scenes. You didn't need to have all the answers anymore, because you trusted the one who does. Your relationship with Jesus Christ became more personal. It was no longer just about asking for help in hard moments, it became about walking with Him in every moment. In your daily life, in your decisions, in your thoughts, you began to feel His presence guiding you. There were still days when you felt weak. There were still moments of doubt. But now, instead of letting those feelings take over, you turned to prayer. You reminded yourself of how far you had come and how many times you had been carried through situations you thought you would never survive. You began to see life differently. Every small blessing felt meaningful. Every delay, every closed door started to make sense in its own time. You realized that sometimes protection looks like rejection, and sometimes growth comes through discomfort. Step by step, day by day, you kept moving forward, not perfectly, but faithfully. And that made all the difference. As time passed, something even more beautiful happened. You discovered your purpose. Not in a loud or dramatic way, but in a quiet, steady understanding of who you are and why you are here. The pain you once went through was no longer just a memory of struggle, it became a testimony of strength. You realized that your story could inspire others who are walking through their own storms. The same comfort you received, you could now give to someone else. Your heart, once heavy with worry, was now filled with peace. Not because life had become perfect, but because you had learned to trust completely. You understood that peace doesn't come from having everything under control, it comes from surrendering control to God. You started to live with gratitude. Even in difficult situations, you found reasons to be thankful. You learned to appreciate the journey, not just the destination. And in doing so, your life became lighter, fuller, and more meaningful. You also became stronger in ways you never imagined. The fears that once held you back no longer had the same power over you. You had faced storms and survived them. You had walked through darkness and found light again. Now, when you look ahead, you no longer feel anxious about the unknown. Instead, you feel a sense of calm assurance. Because deep in your heart, you know that no matter what comes next, you will never face it alone. Your journey has taught you one powerful truth. Faith is not about avoiding the storms of life, it is about trusting God through them. And because of that, your life is no longer defined by fear, doubt, or uncertainty. It is defined by hope, strength, and an unshakable trust in Jesus Christ, who has been with you from the very beginning and will remain with you forever. As your journey continued, you began to understand that not every season in life is about movement, some seasons are about waiting. And in the past, waiting used to make you anxious. It made you question everything. But now, something inside you had changed. You started to see waiting not as a punishment, but as preparation. There were moments when things felt slow, when prayers didn't seem to be answered right away, and when life didn't move in the direction you expected. But instead of becoming frustrated, you leaned deeper into your faith. You reminded yourself that timing is just as important as the blessing itself. You trusted that Jesus Christ was working behind the scenes, even when you couldn't see it. In those quiet seasons, you grew stronger. Your patience deepened. Your understanding matured. You learned how to be still, not in fear, but in faith. You discovered that sometimes, the most powerful growth happens in silence, when no one else can see what God is doing within you. You also became more aware of your purpose during these moments. Instead of constantly chasing what's next, you began to focus on what is now. You gave your best in the present, trusting that the future would unfold exactly as it should. And slowly, you started to feel a deeper sense of stability. Your emotions were no longer controlled by circumstances. Your peace was no longer temporary. It had roots now, deep roots grounded in faith. You realized something important. You don't need to rush when you trust God's timing. Every delay had a reason. Every pause had a purpose. Every moment of waiting was shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more faithful. And that gave you peace. As time went on, your life itself became a reflection of your faith. It was no longer just something you believed in, it became something people could see in you. The way you handled problems, the way you treated others, the way you stayed calm in difficult situations, all of it began to reflect the presence of Jesus Christ in your life. You didn't need to speak loudly about your faith for it to be visible. It showed in your actions. You became more compassionate. You started to understand people more deeply, knowing that everyone is fighting their own battles. Instead of judging, you chose kindness. Instead of reacting with anger, you responded with patience. There was a quiet strength in you now. Even when life tested you again, and it did, you didn't fall apart the way you once did. You stood firm, not because you were strong on your own, but because your faith had become your foundation. You also began to inspire others, sometimes without even realizing it. Your journey, your resilience, your peace, it spoke to people who were still struggling. They saw something different in you, something they wanted to understand. And when they asked how you stayed so strong, you didn't point to yourself. You pointed to your faith. You shared how you once felt lost, how you once struggled, how you once questioned everything, but how trusting God changed your life step by step. You reminded them that faith doesn't make life easy, but it makes it meaningful. You became a living testimony. Your life now had a sense of direction, not because you had everything figured out, but because you trusted the one who does. And that trust gave you courage to keep moving forward, no matter what came next. At this point in your journey, you finally understood something truly powerful. Faith is not just about believing in better days, It's about becoming someone who carries light, even in the darkest moments. And now, wherever you go, whatever you do, you carry that light within you. A light built through struggles. A light strengthened through faith. A light that no storm can ever take away. As your journey continued, you came to understand something even more real. Faith does not mean the absence of struggles. In fact, new challenges still found their way into your life. Situations arose that tested your patience, your strength, and even your belief once again. But this time, something was different. Before, difficulties would shake you. They would fill your mind with doubt and your heart with fear. But now, even when life became uncertain again, you didn't react the same way. You had changed. Your foundation had changed. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you began to ask, "What is this teaching me?" This shift in perspective transformed everything. You realized that every battle had a purpose. Every hardship carried a lesson. And even when the path felt unclear, you trusted that Jesus Christ was still guiding you, step by step, moment by moment. There were days when you felt tired again. Days when your strength felt limited. But instead of giving up, you leaned into your faith even more. You prayed not just for answers, but for strength. Not just for solutions, but for peace in the middle of uncertainty. And slowly, you began to notice something powerful. You were no longer fighting your battles alone. There was a calmness in your heart, even when storms surrounded you. There was a quiet assurance that no matter what happened, you would be okay, not because life would always be easy, but because you were no longer relying only on yourself. You had learned to trust beyond what you could see. And in doing so, you discovered a deeper level of courage, the kind of courage that doesn't come from having control, but from surrendering control to something greater. Every challenge that once seemed overwhelming now became an opportunity to grow stronger in your faith. You stopped fearing the storms, because you knew they were shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for something greater ahead. And through it all, one truth remained clear in your heart. Faith doesn't remove the battle, but it gives you the strength to walk through it without losing yourself. Now, as you stand further along in your journey, you begin to see just how far you've come. The person you are today is not the same person who once felt lost, broken, and uncertain. You've grown, not just outwardly, but deeply within your soul. Your faith is no longer fragile. It is steady. It is rooted. It is unshakable. You no longer depend on perfect situations to feel peace. You've learned how to carry peace within you, even when life is imperfect. You've learned that true strength doesn't come from avoiding struggles, but from walking through them with faith. And now, your focus has changed. You're not just living for yourself anymore, you are living with purpose. Every step you take is guided by trust. Every decision you make is shaped by wisdom you gained through your journey. You've stopped chasing temporary things and started valuing what truly matters: peace, purpose, faith, and the quiet presence of God in your life. There's a confidence in you now, not loud or proud, but calm and steady. You don't need constant reassurance anymore. You don't need everything to make sense immediately. You've accepted that some answers take time, and some paths unfold slowly. And that's okay, because now you understand. As long as you are walking with Jesus Christ, you are never truly lost. You've also learned how to let go of fear, of control, of the need to have everything figured out. And in that surrender, you found freedom. A freedom that allows you to live fully, love deeply, and trust completely. Your journey has become a testimony, not just of survival, but of transformation. You are no longer defined by your past struggles. You are defined by the strength you gained through them, and the faith that carried you forward. And now, as you continue walking into the future, you carry something powerful within you. A heart full of peace. A spirit full of strength. And a faith that nothing in this world can break. No matter what comes next, you are ready. Because now you know the truth. You are never walking alone. As your journey continues, you begin to notice a quiet but powerful shift in the way you live each day. It's no longer fear that guides your decisions, it's faith. The same life that once felt uncertain and overwhelming now feels meaningful, even in its challenges. You wake up with a different mindset. Not every day is easy, and not every moment feels perfect, but there is a steady peace within you that doesn't depend on circumstances. This peace comes from knowing that Jesus Christ is walking with you through it all. There was a time when you needed everything to go right to feel okay. But now, even when things don't go as planned, you remain grounded. You've learned that faith is not about controlling outcomes, it's about trusting the one who holds them. You no longer panic when life feels uncertain. Instead, you pause, you pray, you trust, and in that trust, you find strength. There are still moments when doubt tries to return. Moments when fear whispers old thoughts into your mind. But now, you recognize those voices. You don't let them control you anymore. You've grown stronger than your fears. You remind yourself of how far you've come. You remember the battles you've already overcome. And most importantly, you remember that you didn't overcome them alone. Your faith has become your anchor. When life feels unstable, it holds you steady. When your heart feels heavy, it lifts you gently. When your path feels unclear, it reminds you to keep walking, even if you can only see one step ahead. You've also learned something deeper about purpose. Purpose isn't always something big or visible. Sometimes, it's found in the quiet moments, being kind when it's hard, choosing patience when you are tested, and holding on to faith when everything around you tells you to give up. These small choices are shaping your life in powerful ways. And without even realizing it, you've become a light. Others may not know your full story, but they can see your peace. They can feel your strength. And through you, they begin to see what faith can do. You are no longer just surviving life, you are living it with intention. And every step forward is a reflection of the faith you've built within your heart.